Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brothers Take podcast. My name is Kris. I'm joined this week by my brother Eric.
Hello.
And in this week's episode, we are back in the room to talk more gaming. And we're coming to that time of year where they're going to start announcing the nominees for all the
Hmm.
different categories for the Game Awards. I saw the other day, I got a post or I got to send a message that you can now start buying your tickets to go to the show. So the reveals must be coming very, very soon. And just
Hmm.
before they do, we wanted to kind of get ahead of that and have a conversation as to what we think are going to be the Game of the Year nominees this year. So not every category because we'd be here forever, and we'll talk about the other categories when they actually are unveiled. We'll do our usual. We do this every year where we go through them and do our predictions as to what we think is going to win in each category and maybe our own personal picks of what we would pick. But this is just going to be us trying to actually predict what's going to be in the Game of the Year category. There's usually 5 or 6 games each year.
Oh shit!
So
I've only been thinking about four. Okay, no, that's not
so
better.
that's
That's not
interesting.
better.
So that's interesting. So we're both going to have our own lists. Maybe we haven't fully thought them out yet, and we're going to decide them as we go, discuss it, and when we put it out there, hopefully we want to see which of us gets most right. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
when they actually come out, then and maybe our lists will be the exact same. I don't know yet. We actually haven't talked about it with each other yet. We want this conversation to be very authentic and natural, and we want to hear from you guys too. So if you guys are watching YouTube, make sure you jump down into the comments at any point to share your own personal predictions for the Game of the Year nominees, or if you end up agreeing with one of us, let us know which one you're siding with in this prediction battle. And if you enjoyed this episode, why not give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and ring the notification bell for all future content, including when we do the actual we go through all the actual nominees and we do our kind of final predictions before the Game Awards in December. And to those who listen to us on audio platforms, you can touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on what you think will end up being the Game of the Year nominees for the Game Awards this year. Must clarify that too. We are talking specifically about the Game Awards show, as because
Right,
there's
yeah,
lots of other.
Jeff Keighley's one, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
like
yeah, 'cause
the
that's the
golden
one.
joystick has already happened, I think. So
I
you
think
can
it's
already see
still.
what.
I think it's still happening. I think people are still voting for that, but it's coming to
Oh,
an
right.
end very, very, very soon. But yeah, there's lots and lots of game awards, like different game
Does
awards, like
doesn't
everywhere.
IG?
So
Yeah, doesn't IGN do their own
everyone does
ones?
one. Everyone does one. So we're only ever focused on the game awards, just as
Yeah.
one kind of that's the one that we tend to hone in on and look at. Because I mean, there's no point in trying to do all of them. There's
No,
so
because like
many.
I think as I stated like in one of the previous episodes, like The Last of Us, the original version of The Last of Us had like
That's right.
over 200
Game
Game
of
of the
the Year
Year.
awards.
So there's over 200 different
Different
companies
shows and game
shows,
awards
yeah.
and things
So
like that. Yeah, yeah,
can't cover them
100%.
all.
No, no, no.
We have a
So,
life.
just that now that that's clarified, without further ado, let's talk GOTY 2024.
Doesn't have a nice ring to it, does it? GOTY 2023 has a nice ring to it.
GOTY 2023, yeah, I suppose because it rhymed.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I
Yeah.
hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
We will timestamp parts of this discussion just so that people know if they want to jump straight into the stuff that maybe they're here for. But just before we do, Eric, before we start looking forward, I want to look back for a second, right?
Okay.
Because last week was Halloween, and I just want to know what did you get up to for Halloween? What did you do in this sort of
For
epilogue to October before we start
my
looking
my
forward to the
epilogue
Christmas season and
my
stuff?
epilogue to October was extremely underwhelming, I would say.
Oh, what did you play or watch anything?
I played a trial to a game called Age of Wonders 4.
Wow, is this like Age of Empires type of thing?
I would actually say it's closer to being like Civilization.
Right, but it's one of those kind of real time
Yeah, yeah,
strategy
yeah.
games.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I've played a bit of that, and then I was like, nah. This is not for me.
Do you find that if
It
you're
not great to play on a console. I think if I was playing on PC, it might
I
have been
found that
better.
my heart broke a little bit when I did actually try Age of Mythology Retold on
Uh,
console, and I don't see myself going back to it because I
oh.
just wasn't enjoying. Like there was little sound effects and stuff were really nostalgic and like taking me back. I was like, ah, but honestly, I think PC is the way to play those games. I just don't. They work on console, but I didn't find it incredible, like immersive enough to like want to.
No, yeah,
I haven't found myself wanting to put it back on. I'll put it
yeah,
that way.
which is sad because that
It's
is a
Age of
childhood
Mythology,
game.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Come on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, other than that, I went to see a show that you helped put on,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then I went and had dinner. And then what did I do? I think I watched the first episode of Arcane season 1. Then when I got home, just because season 2 is around the corner.
That's right. Are
Yeah,
you
yeah.
looking forward to it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I am a little kind of meh because it's like a little
They've
kind of
announced already
shucks.
that's the last one.
Yeah, it's like that's what are you doing, guys?
Mm.
Why? That's your successful show.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah. What
Why
are you
you
doing?
can't? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you keep that going?
I had an incredibly busy Halloween week,
Mm,
so I didn't get much done. Um, I started Life is Strange Double Exposure,
right.
but I can't even give a first impressions yet. I was so tired. I was actually falling asleep trying to play it.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I was like, I want to get the first episode in and kind of just get a feel. And I think I'm gonna have to restart it actually. And
All
it
right.
wasn't, it's not, I can't say it's a comment on the game yet because I was just in too tired a state to actually play it. So I said, look, I'm not doing this justice. I'm not doing myself justice. I need to turn it off, go asleep, and play it at a later date. So I will come back to Life is Strange Double Exposure. And I played a couple of missions of Black Ops 6 because it's on Game Pass, right?
Of
Um,
course.
I can I give first impressions yet? I've only been playing like a couple missions of the campaign. It's very cinematic. It's been a long time since I've played a Call of Duty game. Um, so I don't know if
Is
they've been doing this for a while, but there's like a Marvel style opening to them now where the Call of Duty is like coming up on the screen and they're showing all different characters from the different eras, and I was like, that's cheesy as fuck. It's like
uh
that's not you probably think that's cool. That is not cool.
hey, the
But
Call of Duty fans, that might be the best thing ever.
it might be. But the gameplay is solid. You know, it plays well, as you would probably expect from Call of Duty nowadays. Like they do make
Mm.
like solid games, and graphics are good. Um, but there is an element of like it is quite cheesy. I'm finding.
It's probably like very modern Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah, I was getting a vibe of that actually, where I was like, man, this is like. But in saying that, it's like I'm not playing this thinking this is going to be one of the Game of the Year nominees. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's going to be a contender there. I'm playing it as like this could be just a fun time. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I actually am going to continue playing it. It's not one where I'm thinking about it constantly. It's like, oh, I need to finish that campaign. But I
Mm.
actually am gonna. I think it's one where you could throw on a mission here and there
Yeah, yeah.
and play through it and have a perfect amount of fun. I'm liking the espionage and kind of like there was a whole stealth section where I had a silenced pistol and I had to like sneak through and like take guards out and stuff without them seeing me. And then if they did see you, it wasn't like game over. It was just now you have to deal with them.
Oh,
Um,
that's nice. That's
so
nice.
so I was able to pick up a machine gun, go loud, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's fun to play, and I'm looking forward to getting more into it and seeing what the
And
rest
you
of the
have to, of
campaign.
course, play the zombies mode because that's really why people get Call of Duty.
Of course, I'm sure lots of people probably did do that on Halloween night.
Probably.
I was working Halloween night, and then when I got home, um, I was like, right, we don't have much time to do much, but I said to Ash, will we throw on like a Halloweeny movie, like before we go to bed, so that at
Mm.
least we did something for Halloween. We had a look through the Halloween section on Netflix, and I just quickly went, "Oh, I've never seen Scream. Have you seen Scream?" She said no. It's like, all right, let's watch Scream. So we watched Scream. This is I know that's like probably a Halloween classic. It's my first
Mm.
time watching Scream. I enjoyed it. The opening is very good, and then it's quite funny as well. There's a lot of like in jokes and stuff, and like it's
Is
pointing
this
out.
the one with Jenna Ortega, or is this the original?
No, the original Scream from the
Oh,
90s.
okay. Yeah. No, just that the one with Jenna Ortega was actually on Halloween night,
Oh,
as
was
well
it?
as Carrie. Carrie was also on last night, so I've seen a scene from Carrie. But yeah, anyway.
And you didn't watch it? No, you didn't watch any of them. You didn't.
No, I wasn't in the mood.
You know what I mean? It's okay. But yeah, Scream was fun. The reveal wasn't all that exciting and quite predictable, um, but it was a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
So
There you
that was Halloween for us. Let us know, guys, whether you're on YouTube or listen to us on audio platforms. Get in touch. Let us know, what did you get up to for Halloween? Did you play any scary games? Did you watch any scary movies? Did you dress up? What did you dress up as? Do let us know. We wanna hear all about it. But now let's get into the actual topic of this week's episode: predicting the Game of the Year nominees for 2024. Eric, do you
go.
think there's going to be 5 or 6 nominees this year? What do you think?
5. I don't know if there was enough games to come out this year to warrant having 6.
Oh, there was, of course, but it all depends on how strongly people are like the games journalists and critics are pushing certain games to determine whether it turns into 6 or 5. But I would agree with you. I think it's going to be 5 this year.
Yeah.
I think it's going to end up being 5. If it's 6, I will be like, oh, okay. That means like people are kind of a lot more mixed than I thought they were. But I think there's going to be like certain games that they're really pushing
Mm.
more than others. Yeah, okay. So we're going to
Because
have.
wait, last year was 6, wasn't it?
Last year was 6.
Right, and that had too many games. Last year had too many. Like 1 or 2 of those games could have came out this year.
So I think I have my 5 predictions picked.
Okay.
Right. But I do have a question that I have to consider before
Okay.
we go any further.
Mhm.
And it's right. So do you remember last year, the Cyberpunk 2027 expansion? What was that
Okay.
called?
Phantom Liberty?
Phantom Liberty. That ended up in categories, didn't it?
Yes.
Even though it's a DLC.
Hmm.
Hmm. My question is, can a DLC, if it's a worthy enough expansion, be considered for the Game of the Year? Because if that's the case, one of my 5 will have to change. But I don't think it would be fair. Because
If
Shadow of the
you're
Erdtree came out earlier this year.
Oh, that is not the one I was thinking
And
of.
I do think some critics might push for that, because I've already heard some games journalists call it their personal game of the year. But I'm like, but it's not a full game, right? It's a deal. Like, can that actually be? And I was like, at first I was like, it can't be considered. But then I remembered the Phantom Liberty. It wasn't considered for game of the year, but it was
Hmm.
considered in certain categories like best narrative and stuff like that.
I think Shadow of the Erdtree should be given the same treatment as Phantom Liberty. So it can't go into Game of the Year because it is an expansion onto an already existing game
That
that
already won.
that already won. So give some other game a chance. For fuck's sake.
Right.
But it absolutely can get
In the other
in the
categories.
other categories because it's still hefty enough, like Phantom Liberty, to like it's not quite the same length as like the Lake House or something. The Lake House is a good
Oh,
DLC. We
did you
talked
think
about
I
it.
was thinking about the Lake House?
I actually thought you were talking about the Lake House first. I
No,
forgot about Shadow of the Earth
yeah,
Tree.
no. I don't think the Lake House would be even thought for Game of the Year,
Yeah. No. I just
which was
thought
it was really
for a
good.
category. Yeah.
It was
But
really
like Shadow
good.
of the Earth Tree is like a full game, but it's an expansion
That's
to an
the thing.
already
Like,
game.
that's the
But it's
thing.
an expansion.
I agree with you. I'm opening myself to the possibility that they might make an argument for it.
I'm opening myself to the possibility that this
And
Game
what
Awards
is going to be controversial.
it's going to be entertaining for not good reasons.
What do you mean?
Well, like that, like some people are going to be like calling bullshit on certain categories and certain.
Well, always, right? Like that always happens. And I remember like the big one last year was that well, there was a few obviously, like there is every year, because people have very strong opinions.
Mm,
But like Hogwarts Legacy getting no nominations in any category, particularly in best RPG, where a game like Lies of P, which is like you have to argue that it is an RPG or not,
Right,
Hogwarts in
yeah.
there, and Hogwarts Legacy wasn't, which is Hogwarts Legacy is so clearly an RPG. And I'm
Mm.
not in any way saying if it was in any category, it would win anything. I think we said that last year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're just saying from a nominee point of view. Obviously, there was other games that were going to kick its ass. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
Baldur's Gate 3 was always going to win Best RPG no matter what you put with it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's just that thing where people do get like, this got snubbed, that got snubbed, and really passionate about stuff.
I know, but this year not only has the opportunity for that got snubbed, it also
Right.
has the opportunity for what the fuck is that game doing there being even considered as a nomination. So it's like,
Right.
yeah, you have actually two fronts,
Right. Yeah.
really,
Yeah. Yeah.
in multiple categories. But anyway, that's what we're talking about game of the year. We're not talking about that
Yeah.
stuff. But I think Shadow Erdtree should get nominated. I'm sure it's very good. Some people love it. Other people are finally realizing what other people say when they're like, these games are too hard. Some
Right.
people were like, oh, Shadow Erdtree is just too hard. And the whole get good argument doesn't work now.
Do you
But
think? But it are we
like
are we
maybe best
100% confident that we won't see it in the Game of the Year list? Can we say with 100% confidence it won't be there? I'm gonna not predict it, but I'm
I'm not
also
predicting it,
like
but now that you've
I
raised this,
I'm like 70-30. I'm like 70% sure it won't be there, but there's a 30% of me that's like they
yeah,
fucking might, and it'll
yes.
open up a can of worms about, because people have said before that they don't think remakes should be considered, which I think is
Yes.
wild, right? But they do
Mm,
say because they're like because it's just because it's a remake of an old game,
mm.
right? And a lot of people look at remakes the same as remasters, and they're not the same.
No.
Um, but if you start doing that, do you start then opening up do DLCs count as their own games and do they
Mm.
belong in you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
then
should
is Shadow of the Erdtree definitely a DLC or is it more like a Miles Morales or a Lost Legacy?
um it's like Blood and Wine from The Witcher Tree. You're playing as the same character that you created,
Yeah.
but you're now exploring a new map.
So you can't buy Shadow of the Erdtree on its own, can you? You
No.
have to have Elden Ring?
If you're buying Shadow of the Erdtree, I think you get both games.
Okay, in which case then I can more confidently say. I think if you could buy it on its own, the
Mm,
argument for it can be its
it's a
own
game.
game is strong.
That's what I think. I'm pretty sure you can't buy it on its own.
We
Maybe I'm
sh-
wrong. You
let's
can correct us.
should we check that?
We probably should check that.
Should we check that? Can you buy Shadow of the Erdtree on its own? I swear to
Yeah.
fucking God, if you can, I'm gonna have to change my because I just know how passionate that people were for it. Like it was getting 10 out of 10s
Yeah.
across the board. You know what I mean?
Can you buy Shadow of the Erdtree physical? I don't know. Let's just click onto that first and
Go
see
for it.
what.
Yeah. Fill us in, Eric. People in the comments right now are probably already like, you fucking idiots. Can you, Eric?
Um. Can you buy Shadow of the Erdtree separately? There we go. Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC separate purchase and pre-order bonus. As mentioned above, Shadow of the Erdtree is available as a separate purchase on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X
Oh, fuck.
at the price of €40.
Oh, shit. Wait, what does that mean,
Hold on,
though?
hold on. Here's one now. Can I buy Shadow of the Erdtree without Elden Ring?
Yes, right.
If you
Go on.
don't already own the base Elden Ring game, you can either purchase it and the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC separately, or buy them both as part of the one special bundle packages Bandai Namco is currently offering. So,
So you can buy it separately.
but I think that's the equivalent of getting. I think that's the equivalent of like The Witcher 3 or Phantom Liberty. Like you don't have to buy the game again just to get it.
No, no,
It's
no,
if
I
you
know
already.
that, but it sounds to me like the first part of that was if you don't have it, you can buy either of them separately.
You don't already own the base game Elden Ring game. You can either purchase it and Shadow of the Erdtree DLC separately, or buy
Oh,
them both.
purchase it and then purchase.
Yes, so I think it's
Okay.
you need the base
Okay.
game.
Okay. Well, then I think we can say we're ruling it out as a Game of the
Yes,
Year contender. If it ends up there, it'll make for a very interesting conversation.
yes.
But I just wanted to flag it. I bet because I was thinking I bet you Eric has forgotten that this came out earlier in the year. But
I
once you
I
bring it up, people are going to be like, Like, oh, Shadow of the Erdtree, I'm still playing that. You know what I mean?
I'm good. Glad.
So, who wants to go first, or what way do you want to do this? Do you want to do like all of yours, and I say if mine is there, and then
No, no,
continue
no,
on
no.
with
What
my
like
ones?
we'll do one at a time because I'm sure we'll have crossovers we can just talk about.
Okay. Well, I want to throw in. Here's the way I have it. Right, I have
Right.
two definites, like 100%.
I have yes, two definites.
Two
They're
absolute definites.
probably
Like
the same.
they're 100% going to be there. If they're not, then I don't know who is doing this. Like they're
Yeah.
100% going to be there. Then I have two probables where I'm like I think they're probably going to be there, but I'm not as confident as the other two.
Hmm.
And then for my last one, it's a wild card.
Okay.
That's my five without saying what they are yet.
Yeah, yeah.
What way are you thinking of yours? Like what? I know you just said you
I
have two definites,
yeah,
two.
no, two definites, and then I think after that they're all wild cards.
Okay,
Because
okay.
this year has just
It's kind of hard to
been a
predict this year.
year.
Like last year, there was so many Game of the Year contenders, but there was also ones that were so strong
Mm.
amongst them that it was kind of easy enough to pick out what the Game of the Year contenders were going to be.
It was
Um,
almost I thought the hardest part for last year was actually condensing it.
yeah, bringing it down to six or less
Yeah, yeah. This one is
because there
like
was so
I'm
many.
finding it hard to bring it up.
I'm not bearing in mind that not all these games are ones I would personally pick. But
Right.
I'm just thinking about like there is a few that I'm like it could like I'm not saying I couldn't.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So the definites out of the way first. Um, Astrobot.
Never mind. I have three. I have three definites. Sorry. Yes, Astrobot.
You didn't have Astrobot, or you weren't sure
I
that it was definite.
no, I had it. I forgot about it this morning, and now you've mentioned it, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I do remember actually putting that in my list.
It's 100%
Yes, absolutely.
gonna be
That
on the
was Game of the
list.
Year, even in the Golden Joystick Awards, like nominated. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and just like how critically acclaimed it is, but also
Mm.
it's a great game, and I remember I gave my first impressions on it. Um, when just soon after it came out. I have since finished all like the main story. I haven't
Mm.
platinumed the game or anything, but I've finished all the like main missions and stuff. It's a fun game. It's solid. There's no like performance issues or anything like that. You know, it's
Mm.
graphically it's great. The music is fun. I think as well because it's a platformer, it's for like for gamers, it's got a universal appeal.
Yes, it's very kind of just easy to get
It's
into.
very easy to play. It's not,
Mm.
I mean, this one's not like a best narrative of 2024 type thing. Like the narrative is paper thin.
Yeah.
But um all anyone has to do is look at how loved the Mario games are every time
Mm.
a Mario game comes out to kind of know that and this one is it's very much PlayStation's version of a Mario game.
Mm.
Um and then there's the cool like I don't want to give them away, but there's like themed. I said this before. There's themed like PlayStation missions.
Missions. Yeah, because when I was over your house, I played one of them. It's very good.
They're fucking incredible. I was like,
Yeah.
I'd play a whole game of this stuff. Like I would play. I hope they do. I hope they release DLC. Actually, I know they are. They had some free add-ons, but I actually hope they do more themed missions and
Mm.
stuff because they were the fucking highlight of the game for me. And the final mission is fantastic. It is so good, and I don't want to give away it, but it's the game is short. Like it's well worth playing through, and I should give you a lend of it actually, and just let you play through the whole thing, and because I think it's one that you would play through once, and I don't see it like replaying it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't necessarily see it as one that you would buy necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
And then the haptic feedback in it is fucking incredible. I'm sure you
Nice.
felt
Yeah.
that yourself when you tried it.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. It's very good.
Like
And yeah, when you're getting the like when I was playing it, I got lost in like all the kind of hidden nooks and crannies of areas you can go to. So even as a platformer, it has layers to each mission
mm.
that can get you more unlockables and stuff, which is just fun as well. So it's really fun to explore.
I actually I still I was saying it all along. I think Adam would love it.
Yeah, probably.
It's Adam's kind of game. Like Adam loves collectibles.
Yeah.
Like that was like why he loved Ghost of Tsushima so much. And it's just a whole game of collecting shit, really.
Yeah,
And then fun PlayStation,
cameos,
callbacks and
callbacks.
cameos and
Yeah. Well, they're
like
also part of the collectibles, and
and
then
they're part of it.
collecting
And you
stuff
want to
that
find them, don't you? Like you
yes,
find yourself wanting to find them and wondering who's on this level and who am I gonna
mm,
find next and like it's just fun. Um but yeah, this is a 100% one of the game of the year contenders. Might even win. It
I
might
even win.
even
But
win, but we'll see. We'll
one
see.
of see my the first one that's popped in my head when we say game of the year, to be honest, for this year
Yeah.
is Metaphor ReFantasia.
Interesting. So you have this as a definite?
I have this as a definite. A lot of people are praising this, loving this, and yeah, I know there
Yes.
are other people who don't really gel with it. Like we didn't gel with it,
Yeah.
but that's more on like I think I said it to you off podcast one time that it was like it was the gameplay I didn't gel with. It's like I actually want to watch this
The
rather than
anime and
play it.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather just watch the story unfold and the characters unfold. But like there's a lot of people who do call this their game of the year. So I think that this I would say this is a definite,
I have this on my list.
but it's a
I,
maybe.
I have no, I have it as a probable. It's not a wild card. This is
Yeah.
a probably. Like, I will not be surprised to see this. This
Right,
will
okay.
probably be there. I think there's enough people are going to stick up for this,
Hmm.
and I think the reviews for it were so high from those people who are really into it. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking as well about like it's from the creators of like the Persona series, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like those Persona games were always highly regarded in that sense
Hmm.
as well. You know what I mean? Um, I actually think what's going to be more interesting than the game of the year argument is going to be the RPG category
Hmm. Yeah, no, I was.
when this is up against another one. But
Yeah.
that's got to be fucking really interesting as to like where people fall on that. But yeah, so I also have this on my list. I will not be surprised to see it, and I do think if you just look at last year, like this came out in October.
Right, yeah.
I think when a game comes out, as much as people maybe don't want to admit it, like it's these games are obviously reviewed objectively, but also subjectively. Like, so there's the personal connection to it and all that kind of stuff, but there is like a recency bias where a game that you've just played that you absolutely loved
Hmm.
is going to stick in your head more than a game you're like, oh yeah, in January I did, yeah, I loved that as well, I did, but it's been so long since I played it, I've kind of forgotten
Yeah.
about it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like we saw this, not that they wouldn't have been there anyway, they were incredible games, but like in last year's game awards both Alan Wake 2 and Spider-Man 2 both came out in October,
And
and
we're
a
yeah.
lot of people were like saying, oh no, Alan Wake 2 is game of the year, Alan Wake 2 was the game of the year. And like in truth, of course it wasn't going to be, because Baldur's Gate 3 was like
Yes.
but people had just played Alan Wake 2 and it blew their minds and they were still thinking about it. But had Alan Wake 2 come out in like January, I'm sure it would still have been in the list because it was a great game. But would
Hmm.
they still be as hot on it? Because it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, possibly not.
So
Possibly not. But
that's why I do think Metaphor ReFantasio. I think you're right. As well as it obviously seems to be a well crafted RPG.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be in the RPG category as well, for
As
sure.
well. Oh god, yeah.
Definitely.
It won't be the only one though, will it?
No. But to make up the list for the RPGs is going to be an interesting one, I think.
We could nearly predict that as well, I'd say. you know, like it's pretty. I think that's going to be pretty easy. That's one where we might see Shadow of the Erdtree as well, actually.
True. Yeah.
But the other one that will both be in that category and in
RPG, yeah.
Game of the Year is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah, so that was my other definite as well.
My other definite, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so far we both have the same lists. I wonder if there's going to be any difference. But like okay, so there's not much we could say about it. We've done a whole spoiler cast on Final Fantasy VII
We've
Rebirth
done multiple episodes
over multiple episodes.
Yeah, breaking this game down
into
so you can check
sections.
them out.
Go back earlier in the year. I haven't forgotten about it.
No,
Absolutely incredible game.
there was aspects when you go back to listen to episodes. There was certain choices and things that they did in the game that we didn't fully agree with,
Yeah,
but that was more from a. That's not necessarily against the game, so to speak. Was just like certain choices were just like, oh, we wouldn't have. We don't agree with that, but it's still a well-crafted, very good game. I haven't gone back to actually clear my second playthrough of it. Probably should do that at some point. But yeah, no, really, really great game.
I remember when
So,
we were reviewing it, um, and I stand by this. I think whatever about so trying to remove the subjective part for a second. Everyone has
mm,
their own favorites, and it might not even be my favorite in this statement that I'm going to say, but I think objectively it is the best Final Fantasy game since Final Fantasy X. In terms of no, but I don't think that's crazy to say because like if someone was to pick out some of the other ones, they're missing so much stuff that you expect in a Final Fantasy. In this one, you do actually go across the world. You do actually build a party and control them and use them and equip them. You do chocobos and mini games. There is an actual storyline. Like it has everything an old Final Fantasy used to have. You remember playing Final Fantasy 15 and you're like, I like Final Fantasy 15, but you're like, this game has so much potential. Where is everything? Where's the story? What happened to it? You know what I mean? It's like you have to piece it together, and, it's like, and then you read stuff about it online, and you're going, yeah, that's great and all, but why wasn't it in it? And you don't travel the world; you travel an area
you
in the
travel
world.
the first continent, and
You
then
don't
once
though.
you
You don't. You don't travel the first continent. You travel a part of the first continent. It's very clear there's a lot more of it that you don't see.
um you travel the western section of the first continent.
Exactly. That's my point. You don't travel the world fully and truly and then go back to revisit it all in the way that you did in Final Fantasy games. So that's what I'm saying. Rebirth is the best Final Fantasy game since 10.
Hmm.
And after that, people can say what they like or do what they like with it. And then
Feel like it.
the combat continues to be
Combat's very good. Yeah,
incredible, you know?
yeah.
And the addition of synergy was just so fucking sick. I loved it. Great game. Personally, my game of the year so far. I don't think anything has
Third game of the year.
topped it yet. Probably won't either, but then I do have a very personal bias towards all things Final Fantasy VII. So
You do.
people have to take that too. But I don't think that takes away from the fact that it is an incredible game.
I don't know. I still think it's going to get if it doesn't get nominated for Game of the Year.
No, it will.
Yeah, but if it doesn't, it will be like, what's going on here?
That will
This is
be
I've actually like I think I was saying to you off podcast one time that I'm actually so interested in this Game of the Year just because of so
your.
much conversation that's happened. But
This
like,
is the most interested I've seen you in the Game Awards.
yeah,
Like you seem way more invested this year than any other year.
just because I want to see it all crumble and burn.
so
I'm
so
excited
far,
for it.
so far our lists are the same.
Yes.
I have a feeling they're going to change.
Okay. So this is when we are going to now start getting to wild cards. So,
Your wild cards. You have
not wild card. Sorry, not a wild card, but like a possibly also might not be there, right? Or possibility lists.
sure.
So my next one is going to be Black Myth Wukong.
Hey, this is where if it's not there, Eric's gonna be like, "What the fuck, you
No,
shills!"
that's not necessarily me. But this is where I know that if it's not, it's gonna be an explosion on the internet. It'll be so interesting. I'm like, ah.
Right, 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 right. So why do you think it could be there? Why do you think it's very probable that it will be there?
Um, I mean, graphically,
Mm,
it's fucking stellar. You saw the start of it.
yeah,
Graphically, it's fucking amazing. Gameplay wise, it's so fluid and innovative and very like seamless with its kind of when you're using spells. Like you have so many transformations that you can do, and they just sort of happen. Some of the transformations you can explore, other ones just do a big special ability. Loads of people loved this game when it came out. Lots of people were again when it came out saying it was their game of the year. I think it's a really nice entry into a whole new mythology
yeah,
that's further west, not very explored, and it's like I suppose opening up that it's like there's more mythologies than just Greece and Norse. As awesome as they are, there's
mm,
other awesome ones out there. And then for a company that like I don't think has made really AAA like console style games, this is fucking one hell of a leap for them.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it's an amazing leap. And if you're a big fan of those Soulsborne style games,
right.
it's one of them. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of customization stuff you could do to yourself as well as your weapon.
Have you
Um,
finished it yet? I know you were
oh
playing it.
God, no! I got pissed off with one of the bosses.
Oh, you still haven't gone back and finished it?
I still haven't gotten back now.
No, okay.
It has for me because it's not my game of the year. It
No,
has made me go, ah, you know what? Actually, I think I'm getting to a stage in my life where I don't want to be playing super
pushing
difficult.
through this.
Yeah, playing well, just playing super difficult games. Is actually while I was playing this going, actually, I don't want to get Elden Ring. Actually, I don't want to play
Okay.
those games anymore.
Okay. Um, I don't. Maybe this is gonna be controversial. Then Black Myth Wukong is not in my predictions.
That's okay.
I think it's going. I do think it's going to be nominated in categories. I don't think we
Yeah.
will have a situation. I don't think it's going to be like Hogwarts Legacy. I don't think we'll have a situation where we don't see it nominated and are like, how?
Well, it got nominated for one category for the Golden Joystick Awards, and people weren't even happy about that.
Yeah,
So,
no, I do, and I do think people are going to be mad. I do think people are going
yeah,
to be mad, but I don't know why. I don't think it's going to be in
that's
the Game of the Year categories.
that's fair. So, what do you think is going to?
This is another one of my probables and
Mm-hmm.
not a definite. It's again based on recency bias.
Okay.
I think it's going to stick with game journalists, and I think they were all surprised by it.
Okay. I see what you're
I
going
think
with.
Silent Hill 2 Remake is
Okay.
going to be one of the Game of the Year nominees. I haven't played this game. I'm too scared to play this game, but very fascinated by it. So I did watch a put together. So I in no way can I claim like that I know what that game's like because I haven't
Mm.
played it for myself. Um, but there's certain things I can comment on just based on what I've seen of it. I watched an entire like put together sort of like stitched together sort of movie of Silent Hill 2,
Mm.
the remake. Um, and what I can take from that is the presentation is phenomenal. The performances are incredible.
Mm.
I think the guy who's playing um, James is going to be up for best performance this year.
Oh wow.
I'll
Okay.
be shocked if he's not, and I might even give him my vote. And that's based on
Okay.
just watching not actually
Yeah.
playing the game myself. The nuances are fucking insane. I think it'll also be up for best narrative.
So do you think Konami has now, after a long sort of hiatus, has put themselves back on or starting to put themselves back on the map, and
Yeah, 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 it's
this is a
gonna.
good start for them?
This is
Like,
a good start. If Snake Eater Delta is a home run as well, then I think people are going to be like, okay, okay, Konami, okay, you know what I mean?
yeah, you're coming back
Possibly
now.
you're coming into the good graces a little bit.
You're stopping those
Like
getcha machines.
nobody was expecting this game to be good.
No.
Nobody was excited for it at all. And so with that bias of one, I don't think this is going to be good. Two,
Mm,
I'm not excited for it.
mm,
And three, how dare you touch one of the best games ever made for a lot of people.
yeah.
So with those biases going in, and then people that come out and give it nines out of tens, tens out of tens, and be like, I can't believe they did it. It's amazing.
Mm,
Now, I'm not saying everyone feels that way. There's certainly people I've seen people as well say, "Nah, they fucked it, and it's not as good as the original." But you're always going to get that in a
yes.
comparative
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
The thing where I think people will get mad is if this is in the list and Black Myth Wukong is not. I can see the Black Myth Wukong fans getting mad because Black Myth Wukong is a new sort of original game,
Mm,
and
right.
the
Yeah.
argument being a remake in the same. And we explained earlier on that a remake is not the same as a remaster, but a lot of people don't see it that way, and they would consider this sort of like this the same as a remaster.
Right. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
could see people getting really mad if it is there. Um, but I think there's enough going on in it in terms of its presentation and its writing. Very, very cleverly written while
Mm,
staying very true
yeah.
to the original. And a lot of the people who reviewed it, from what I gather, were new to Silent Hill. So they were going in with they weren't able to compare it. So there were some obviously that had played the original were able to compare it, and they were able to find all the little nuances of, oh, they moved that thing, or they changed that puzzle, or oh, they made that boss fight way better than the original, or whatever.
Hmm.
But there was a lot of people who were going in blind. They didn't know the story. So when they got to the end, they were just like, and I won't spoil it here, but I think you know the story. I think
I
we've
think
talked about
I
it
do.
before
Yeah,
from
yeah.
like, and like it is a really good story, and it's quite a haunting story.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna put it out there that I think Silent Hill 2,
Okay.
both for being a well-made game, a surprising game, and for its recency bias, I
Hmm.
think it's gonna stick with people. So I think it's gonna be, and I'm not saying quality-wise, I don't think it's as like I don't mean that it's as good as this, but I think it's gonna be the Alan Wake 2 of this year.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably actually more correct than I am with Alan with the Alan
No,
Wake
I'm
2 Silent
no.
Hill 2.
Let's. I'm not saying that.
No, well, you probably that probably does have a higher chance to get in there. Because my one was Helldivers 2.
Oh, your final.
That's my final one is Helldivers 2, based on just now there was controversy around that earlier in the year, but it still just like blew people out of the water and stuff with what the
Yes.
game was and what it did and the constant updates and everything like that, and keeping it going, and the fact that that as a multiplayer game was able to last longer than another multiplayer game that came out this year.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh, it's got to win best multiplayer, right? Or it's got to be in there.
in there, who knows? You know, when it comes to best multiplayer, you know what I
Sure.
mean? Like, because Call of Duty Black Ops 6 could get it.
Right. It's just out as well, so we're not
Yeah,
really
that's just
sure
that. That's
yet how
multiplayer, and I mean,
yeah.
they, it's the Call of Duty people. They should have multiplayer down by this point. So, but like that's probably gonna get nominated. Say Helldivers 2 get nominated. Maybe First Descendant might get nominated as well in that area,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, that was my last one was Helldivers 2.
How confident are you on the hell? Like, if this was a bet where you were actually placing money, and we're not, this is all
Um,
hypothetical. If we were doing
not.
these
I'm
predictions
not
as we're
confident.
you're not confident on that one.
No, 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 no. That's just the
Like, if you want, you can change it if you want. This is
no,
by
no, no.
the
I'll
end of this
stick with my
episode,
guns. I will be stubborn.
you're gonna be stubborn. You're not
I'll s-
confident, but you're gonna be stubborn.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
placing €1,000 on this bet that I'm not confident on.
Yeah, which means I win my €1,000 back because I am not confident. That's what my bet is on. My confidence level.
I feel somewhat confident on my first four, being Astrobot, FF7, Metaphor, and Silent Hill 2.
Right.
I feel
Yeah.
somewhat confident on that. It's the fifth one where I'm not so sure, and I
Well,
don't.
that's why I have Helldivers 2 as my fifth one because I'm not confident on it. It's
I,
just
t-
like,
I, t- I think as well, like, it doesn't really matter because I think the winner is already in the first the first few. I
yeah,
think,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean. I actually think
Yeah.
I think it's between two games personally to
Mm.
win. But that's a discussion we'll have when we're actually going through when the nominees are revealed. Um, so picking the fifth one is hard. It's really hard. This is where I think it is actually hard because there is enough games that I had to consider could
Mm.
be the fifth nominee, right? There's the recent Dragon Age, The Veilguard. All right. Again,
Which
recency bias
I think that's
might come
gonna
in here.
get into best RPG.
I think it will get into best
Yeah,
RPG.
yeah.
Don't think it'll win it, but I think it'll get in there.
It'd be
Um,
hilarious if it would have. It won't. It'd be hilarious. I want just part of me wants this fucking Game Awards show to just I don't know. Fucking
why?
crazy. I don't know. I just think it'd be
You're
entertaining.
like, I want the drama.
Yeah, I'm in a very watch the world burn sort of mood.
Did you at any
It won't. It
did
won't.
you at any point think like Dragon Age the Veil? By the way, this is not my prediction. I'm
Oh,
trying out
yeah.
ones that I had to consider. I did you at any point think Dragon Age the Veilguard could be a nominee for Game of the Year?
No.
No. Yeah, I think like there's a few people who would feel what I've seen of this one. So I do check out varied reviews because I'm interested in what the
Oh,
conversation.
I checked out lots of reviews from all
It's
sorts of
mixed
people.
on that one, isn't it? Like it's not like some are really high and some are really low. Like,
Yeah, but then there are like controversies around. Very interesting. It was kind of like when I went down the rabbit hole of like Dustborn or something like that, where
oh, right, yeah.
it's just like steeped in all this like controversy and all these like different things and theories and stuff. And it's fascinating. Maybe that's why I'm excited. I'm like you with that abandoned gamer, but like I've got multiple
Maybe that will
games that just
finally show up.
yeah, where I could just fucking like just I can just go down into these rabbit holes of all these various things where it's not even just games. It's also like TV shows and movies, and I'm just like, wow, look at all the shit shows happening.
Right.
Anyway,
So we've ruled out we don't think Dragon Age: The Veilguard will be a Game of the Year
no,
nominee. But let us know if you're playing it and you're enjoying it, guys.
hope we
Another
are.
one I thought of, again, it's not my pick, but I had to consider it. Dragon's Dogma 2 came out earlier this year.
That is true, and I think that's another one that's going to get into. I
Best
actually looked
RPG,
at
right?
reviews. Yeah, best RPG. I looked
For
at reviews
sure.
for that actually. I looked
Yeah.
at two reviews, and for the first half of both reviews, I was like, okay, so this is not a good game.
Right.
And then
Okay.
by the end of the review, I was like, so this is a good game? They both had the same thing to say, which was if you go into Dragon's Dogma 2 for narrative, you're going to be disappointed. The narrative's not great. The dialogue's
Okay.
not really
Okay.
great.
Okay.
But if you're going into a Dragon's Dogma 2 for a game where I just want to get lost in exploring, like, and it because it actually rewards you for going off the beaten path and just
Okay.
explore. And like there's multiple ways to resolve situations. They don't hold your hand about it. So I suppose a bit like Baldur's Gate 3, where um, certain situations you can have multiple ways of solving it.
Hmm.
But so that way. So I was like, so it's a good game, but not if you're into it for the same reason you might be into a Final Fantasy game, which is the
Sure.
narrative.
Yeah.
It's more just the exploration. But yeah, I'd say that for best RPG.
As a
As in nominated.
nominee,
Nominated.
yeah, not
Yeah, yeah,
winning,
yeah.
not winning.
Not wait, not wait.
So do we think it could be a Game of the Year contender? Probably not.
Probably not. No.
Probably not. So another one that came to mind was Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth.
Oh yeah, that came out this year, didn't it?
The fucking people love the Yakuza series, right? Like they're
Yeah, and I
wild.
think there's a Netflix TV show of it now, actually, I think.
Is there?
Is it Netflix?
I don't know.
Maybe it's not Netflix, but there's a live action TV show of it now.
Get out of
That's
here.
out.
Live
Yeah, yeah,
action? What the fuck?
yeah.
But again, I'm like, yeah, like it could. Like if I saw it, I wouldn't be totally shocked. But
Right, yeah, yeah.
my heart is going more towards a wild card.
Right, what's your wild card?
I think the fifth nominee in the Game of the Year nominees is going to be an indie game. I don't
Right.
think it's going to be one of the big games. And
Okay.
I'm between two, and I need to settle on one.
Right.
One of them is Balatro, this weird card game that everyone was talking about.
Yes,
I
and
don't
that
know
was
what it
actually
is. I don't even know how it plays, but people just kept going on about it, talking about it. And I'm like, there
bet you
has to
any
be something here.
I bet you it plays better than Queen's Blood.
Fuck you.
Yeah, actually
I
that
won't
was
have any of that.
nominated in a
I won't
lot of
have any of
areas.
that dirty talk. It was right in the joysticks as
Yeah,
well.
the guy should actually I think it
Not that I'm
might have
going
been
off the joysticks. I'm just going off the more
well,
general. It is a
it's a
good
good
indicator.
indication for the way
Games
people are
journalists and
leaning. The
stuff are
game journalists
thinking.
are leaning towards. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then the other one was Animal Well.
What?
Animal Well is a Metroidvania game that reviewed incredibly well.
Okay.
Um, and it has a very distinct art style. So I'm between those two.
I can't help you out with either one of those, Chris.
So I think I'm gonna go with Balatro.
Balatro. What a weird name, Balatro.
Even I might even be saying it wrong. Is it Balatoro? I don't know what way it's pronounced. I'm just gonna say Balatro. Um. So yeah, but I'll be fucking pissed off if I get all these right and it's Animal Well instead of Balatro. I'll be like, God damn it, I was so close. I'll be like, Eric, can we just pretend I was basically right? God
No,
damn it.
no.
Yeah, you
Got
have
a
to get it
recording.
100% right.
Besides, we're not betting with this one. We're going to bet. We're doing our bets.
We're doing our
when
bets
we
on the
actually can, yeah, when we
yeah.
can
No,
see the nominations, you
this
know
is
what I mean?
just for fun, you know. This is
Yeah.
just for like a let's just see what we think, and as well, it's a good way of like looking back on the year to see like
Mm.
what games are do we think are really standing out and stuff.
Yeah, because I remember like earlier, a couple of months ago, I think I was like, fucking hell, there's no games came out this year. And then I saw the list of the Golden Joystick Award games,
Yeah,
which was brought to my attention because people were saying that was fucking rigged and shit. So I was like, oh, controversy. Because that's what my year's been.
controversy. I see. You sound like an old like 40s radio guy or something like that. I have a controversy.
Oh, let's see what the latest news is now.
Got the golden
And
joysticks.
so I looked at it, yeah, and I saw there was like loads of games such as Blatro in so many things that I was like, wow, lots of games did come out this year. I am surprised. I have been out of the loop then. Very much so.
Yes, and well, and as well, like there's a lot in the indie sphere that we wouldn't necessarily
True.
come across
And
and see,
like the
and
yeah,
they
like the
tend to be
mobile sphere and everything.
really creative. There was one that I actually do want to play it. Is it called Mandika or something like that? Where
Where are you pulling these names out of?
you play as a nun in the game,
Oh,
and
is this like
it it
looks like real life or something, or it's no?
well, it does, and then it doesn't, and it apparently it changes genre and stuff. Um, it looks very creative. It's supposed to be quite short, but it's supposed to just stick with you.
Hmm.
Um, what's it called? I'm trying to look it up now.
I think it's like set in Russia or something like that, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. And it's supposed to be real like surreal and I
I thought it was
cannot.
supposed to be a horror game. I thought it was supposed to be like a horror harrowing type thing. Maybe I'm wrong about it though. Maybe it's got the wrong impression for it. But I do think I know what you're talking about.
What's it called? Mandika? Is that?
I don't know.
No, I can't fucking find it. If anyone can find it or knows what I'm talking about, please let us know. But it's one that I do want to check out. I think I think it would be a really interesting experience. Um, and one that we'll probably see in the best indie category. The indie category is always an interesting one because you come across them and you go, "Oh man, I don't know, any of these could win." Like they're
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know that they all look really artistic and creative in their own indie right. Like yeah, like I think that one that I can't think of the name of will probably there. Animal Well will be there. Balatro will be there. But obviously, it's a good indicator. If you see one of the indie games in Game of the Year, then it's a real clear indicator as to what's going to win Best Indie.
Yes.
But if you don't see it there, then it's like I don't fucking know. Just throw darts. Any of these could win. Oh, they all look amazing. Look at them. They all look really super interesting and original. I don't fucking know. Um. So yeah, that's so. If we want to shout out then to make it official, Eric, your predictions for the five that we're saying, not six.
Now we're saying five.
Five
So
Game of the Year
my
nominees.
five are Astrobot, Metaphor ReFantasio, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Black Myth Wukong, and Helldivers 2
Okay.
are my five.
And my five are Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor ReFantasio, Tazio, Silent Hill 2 Remake, and Balatro. So let
I was
us
half expecting you to say Animal Well to try to
and
change it.
yeah, at the last minute. So let us know if you think either of us are right, or if we're wrong, tell us what should be there instead, or what you think will definitely be there. Let us know your own predictions. If you're on YouTube, jump down in the comments to share your thoughts. If this is on audio platforms, touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take. Before we finish up this week's episode, Eric, we were kind of saying that, oh, this year kind of felt like nothing came out, and then you start looking at the list. And
Hmm.
is there anything still to come this year that, and maybe it'll be too late to be considered in the Game Awards, but is there anything still to come that you're kind of excited for or interested in, or
No, the only one that like I think it was supposed to come out this winter, and then it came out like September was like Space Marine 2.
that's right, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so that would be
that's
about
one
it.
do you want to play?
Yeah. And that doesn't get I think that didn't even get nominated for a Golden Joystick. Maybe it's just too late or something. But That should get nominated.
It wasn't too
I can
late
see.
because they had some of the October games in there, right? And Space
Oh,
Marine 2 came out in September, so
yeah.
I think it's just that. From what I've heard, everyone who played Space Marine 2 thought it was brilliant. So,
Yeah, I
but
haven't heard I
I
haven't
haven't
heard
heard a
any
negative thing about it. But I
no,
also haven't heard like a sort of outstanding kind of like, oh man, you know what I mean? I
true.
think
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's
There's
a
not a lot of
just
bigness about it.
yeah, I think it's just like a run of the mill. This is a really great game, like, and that's it.
But
You know?
then no, but then I've heard other people though who look at it and go like who've been saying finally a game that's just giving the players a game.
Right?
So like people are praising it in the sense that like yeah, they're not blowing minds with some narrative performance or something like that, but it's
No.
like finally it's a game that I can get in and I can enjoy and I'm not having certain concepts thrown at me.
Hmm.
But people were playing it because it's just like here is a Warhammer 40K game and
Right.
that's it. You just get to just play it and you get to enjoy it. And it's like going back to like Gears of War or something.
Yes.
You know, that old
But I
style.
suppose if the game awards are sort of considered kind of like the Oscars of the video game world, right?
True, yeah, yeah.
Then to translate it to like a movie talk, if a movie comes out and you have the audiences saying, "Thank God, a movie that I could just turn my brain off and just watch," I don't have to think about big concepts or anything. Like that's not the one going to be up for the Oscar for best performance, best narrative.
Yeah,
You know what
true,
I mean?
true, yeah.
So just to translate it that way, that it's like, yeah, maybe the multiplayer on it is solid, and it could be in best multiplayer category, like, or there's certain categories it probably like it could be considered for. But I think that's why it's certainly not being thought of in like a game of the year contender type way.
Oh, yeah, I'd never put it
Is
into the game of the
it's
year
not
category.
big enough, right? It's not big enough.
No, and I just think there are stronger as we have listed, I think there's stronger contenders for
Hmm.
that sphere. But I do think it should get nominated as I think like Stellar Blade should be nominated,
Sure.
but
You you
not that it would win anything, but just
you
that.
you don't think that's a game of the year contender? Like
No,
even in possibility? No,
no.
no.
It's
Best
my game
action
of the
adventure.
year.
Yay! Best action adventure.
Yes,
Surely.
so I would put it in best action adventure, but I wouldn't. I'd say if it didn't win, I wouldn't be like bullshit.
Right, right, yeah,
I'd be
yeah.
like, yeah, because whatever wins probably because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is probably a better action adventure than Stellar Blade.
I don't know about that. Come on. What's actually on that note? What's really interesting is, and obviously this one can't be considered for this year because it's coming in December, I think. So it's if it's considered anywhere, it'll have to be next year. But a lot of people, I saw previews recently for Indiana Jones, right?
Oh, the Great Circle. Yeah, I think I've seen some of them popping up now.
Yeah, and they were describing it as an adventure action game rather than an action adventure game. Like they were saying there's a lot more emphasis on the adventure aspect rather than
Mm.
getting into fights. It plays a lot slower than you would expect from machine
Machine gun
games.
games. Yeah, because I think I've seen someone else
Are
who's
they?
like,
Is
you're
it machine games or machine gun games? Is it Machine Gun
I don't
Kelly?
I
I think
think I keep saying machine gun games and I'm probably wrong. It's
I,
probably just machine
I
games.
think it's machine games.
But yeah, I seen someone saying it's like you're not playing as BJ Blazkowicz from Wolfenstein. So you're not Indiana Jones going in with two
Yeah, it's
fucking
machine
machine
games.
guns. It's machine guns. Okay, with two machine guns. That's probably
Yes,
right.
yeah,
Blasting Nazis. It's like no,
right.
it's more on the puzzles and the exploration
That's what it
and
seems to be. Yeah,
you're an archaeologist, which is like you have a firearm, but that's a last resort type
yeah.
thing.
I'm looking forward to trying it out because, like, again, it's coming on Game Pass, so it's like it's that thing of like, why wouldn't I if I'm paying for it? You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't
Did
I try it?
Are there other games that have come out this year apart from Age of Mythology? On game that have come out in Game Pass that you're like, oh, I'll try that.
Well, Black Ops
Oh
6.
yeah, Black Ops 6. Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to say to credit them on that. Not that I mean, Black Ops 6 would sell no problem.
No,
Anyway,
of course, yeah, yeah.
like the Call of Duty series is just huge across the
Mm.
world. Um, but I have fallen out of love with Call of Duty, and I haven't like bought one or wanted to play one, since back in like the Modern Warfare days. So
And
I,
that's the original Modern Warfare days, not the
yeah,
new
yeah,
Modern
not the
Warfare
newer
days.
ones. No, 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 not
Yeah.
So I do have to, and obviously I'm probably in a minority audience in this sense in
Mm.
terms of gamers playing Call of Duty, but there's something to be said for the fact that I would not have played this if it wasn't on Game Pass.
Right. And now
There's
that
no
you're
way I
playing it,
there's no way I would have bought it, and now that I am playing it, I am enjoying it, and I'm like,
mm,
oh yeah, I want to see how this goes. Like I'll keep playing. So I don't know. There's something to be said for the fact that it's a series that I completely like given up on,
mm.
and the fact that it's there, I'm just like, well, I'll try it.
Well,
You
yeah, I
know what I
suppose
mean?
it's yeah, it's a bit like not probably to the same extent, but like let's say I was never like a Hitman fan,
Right.
but when the first Hitman game, like of the reboot series, was on PlayStation Plus,
Yeah.
and I played it. I played the shit out of it. And then I got like the second one, and I played the second one. I haven't got the third one yet, but I actually probably at some point will get a third one and play that. That there is something is really nice about when you get those games that are just there that you can try, and then it's just that happy surprise of like, oh, I'm really enjoying this. This is great. So I'm
Do you
glad you're
know?
enjoying it.
Do you know what I think will be the Hogwarts Legacy of this year? Actually,
What?
um, I think Star Wars Outlaws
Really?
is going to be the Hogwarts Legacy of this year.
Fair
I
enough, yeah.
can't see it getting nominated anywhere. And I think, given that it did sell a lot,
Mm.
and there's a huge Star Wars fan base and Ubisoft fan base, there's a lot of people who played it and just enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, yeah, there was, yeah.
They weren't the critics. Like, if you look at the critic reception, it's not good. It's not great.
Right, yeah.
But if you look at the audience reception, a lot of the audience really liked it.
Mm.
I could see them being really fucking mad if it's not nominated anywhere. The only category it maybe could get is action adventure, but
Yes.
even at that, I just don't know if anyone on the like the judges side is going to be pushing for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could be wrong.
This is the thing. I think this year is very interesting in that because there is a relatively limited amount of games. There's obviously a lot of games came out this year, but in comparison to last year, right?
It's less predictable.
It's less predictable, and I think it just gave so many games room to be talked about, which
Yeah.
almost gave the games more life. Last year we were game after game after game after game.
I had game
Uh,
fatigue this year. I'm actually
I
glad to not.
Yeah, I'm glad there's like because last year I was getting annoyed with like games and announcements for things and everything anything around games. I was getting really annoyed because I was just so burnt out and you nearly had no time to actually enjoy a game last year because you just had to move on to the next thing.
Right. Well, you
This
didn't
year,
have to, but there were actually all games you wanted to play too,
yes, they
and
were
you
all
didn't want to
games I
fall
wanted.
behind on it, and yeah.
Yeah, and so this year I think maybe that's why I'm so fascinated by it is because so many games have a longevity, maybe for the wrong reason or, of course, for the right reason, but they have a longevity to it, which I think is really nice.
Well, hopefully we won't have to wait too long to see what are actually nominated this year, not only in Game of the Year, but also in the other categories. And when that is out, we might not do it straight away. It depends on what else is happening in that week. There's
Mm.
always a few weeks to vote anyway. But before the actual Game Awards, we will definitely be doing an episode where we go through all the nominees. Um, in at least the categories that stick out to us, there's always category like the esports stuff is stuff that we'd have no kind of knowledge of at all. So it would be kind of wrong for us to even
Mm.
comment on it. We know nothing about it. But on the ones that we do have something to say about, or at least that we feel we could comment on, we will be doing our predictions. So make sure you're following the podcast for when that happens. And like we said before, make sure to share your predictions for what will be the Game of the Year contenders this year. And if you want to go that step further and tell us what you think is going to be Game of the Year this year, go for it. And we want to hear all your thoughts on why. So if you watch YouTube, jump down in the comments, share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this episode, please do give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell for future episodes, including when we do go through all of the Game Awards nominees. And if you listen to us on audio platforms, you can touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on what will be the GOTY contenders for 2024. Thank you very much for checking out this week's episode. We'll be back to talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.